Hey everyone, Comrade Snake here, back again with the Dark Sands, coming in at turn 5. So if you saw the end of the last video, you'll know about where it is and kind of how I'm going forward with this playthrough. But a little talk about strategy here. I think what I'm going to try to do for the Axis especially since they have the initiative, is we're going to try to use that early momentum. We're going to keep the Italians up here, kind of trying to threaten Bardia. May or may not try another assault at some point, but we're going to keep that action up there. We're going to try to put a very small screening force up here to try to pin these this armor and this infantry, the Australians. Pin that here, and we're going to try to really shift down south and push in a sort of sickle, kind of like this. We'll see if we can get around Halfa Pass. That's going to require some decent luck on the chit draws. But if we can do that, get around Halfa Pass, cut these guys off, try to close this pocket, or at least create an impenetrable pocket here before the reinforcements from the British and Egypt arrive. If that's not quite possible to get that cut, then it would at least force the British to pull back and form a new defensive line back into Egypt. Well, I guess Egypt actually starts over here, but pull back deeper into Egypt and have to abandon Bardia and Sollum, and allow us to potentially push deeper in the desert, or at least continue to force them back, hopefully destroy some of these units that will keep them from being able to reinforce that section and allow us to continue the advance, potentially pushing it deeper on this way. But the main action, I think we're going to have to try to force ourselves like that. I'm a little too dispersed, not concentrating enough in these areas to do that, and I can't really rely on logistics chits to be pulled and just cut these guys off and etc. It's going to be a little too dicey for that, I think, with the amount of armor that the Brits can pull in. Having said that, I mean, it's not the worst idea, but it would be one step better. Oops, I'm going to slightly move the map there. It'd be one step better than what's going on now, but I think I just need to try to basically bulldoze my way down through the south, which is fairly weakly held. I mean, there's an armor and then a fairly weak and unreplaceable motorized unit, and this weak damaged motorized unit there. So I think we could have the potential here to really push them down the south before reinforcements get up when we do this. So that's probably how it's going to go down. But as usual, I'm going to cut away. We'll cut back to any of the interesting moments, or exactly how it kind of goes down, so you get kind of a play-by-play. All right, so the pocket here, the city Omar, the Commonwealth forces were destroyed, but it did cost another panzer unit and infantry. Mobile infantry unit was eliminated as a result of the exchange, but at least the pathway's clear, and it means that the Germans, that was on their first activation, the Africa Corps activation. That was what they chose as their initiative chit, and with that, I think we can probably use the Rommel chit. We could probably use, I think I might drop the Rommel chit, excuse me, and I think that we can use that to kind of get behind and do some damage here now. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah, that's one little update there of that. So that's the way is now open, and things can shift. So I'm going to play out a few more chits probably, and we'll see what happens. And so the Rommel chip was used. The panzer units, along with their infantry, were able to skirt around through Halfa Pass and eliminate the units in Sollum. Actually, probably would make sense to, oh no, they would have to extend and move to get that far. They wouldn't be able to make it up to cut those units off. So almost for a second I was like, maybe I should leave something behind, but actually no. So that's fine where it is. and we're gonna, hopefully for the Brits, there won't be a logistics pull this round. Otherwise, they're gonna be in trouble, I think. Well, I'll have to check something because I know zones of control don't extend to rough terrain. This might be okay then as a supply source up from Bardia. I'll double check that. Not sure. But assuming that it isn't, then they're in a lot of trouble. And even if it is, they're still in quite a bit of trouble. So we'll see how the Commonwealth are going to respond here. But we may need to actually navally evacuate Bardia and try to get a new line. I don't know if we actually want to do it up this far, because we're going to have to extend and move, and that can cause all kinds of problems. We may just have to remake it near Mursa, Matra, and go from there. Well, I'll make that decision at some point here, but it's going to be a bit of luck about what shits get pulled from this point on. So we'll see how it goes for the Commonwealth forces and for the Africa Corps. Okay. End of turn 5. The position here is such the garrison that was at Fort Capozzo, the Commonwealth garrison, was destroyed, but those units were able to, the actual regular units were able to evacuate up the road since there was nothing mistake on the Axis part, nothing covering this roadway, which doesn't have zones of control, can't go in the rough terrain. So the units up there were able to get up to Bardia into the fortified box, and are now probably going to be causing a lot of problems as almost it's now the siege of Bardia instead of the siege of Tobruk. So that's going to be kind of a fun way to see how this goes. So there's going to have to be some screening forces left here by the Africa Corps so they can continue to advance down the road. Over here we have some of the Italian units extended, moved out to cover this crossroads and to get ready to apply some pressure. Well, they're hoping to apply some pressure before the reinforcements from the Commonwealth came in, but that's not quite how it went down. So unfortunately for them, the Commonwealth got their reinforcements, and towards the end of the turn we're able to kind of move into a pretty decent defensive line with armor support on all of them, so there's not going to be any Panzer shock problems, at least not without some effort by the Axis. And they have a solid defensive line, and they can actually probably begin to do an advance to get ready to counterattack or start counterattacking, try to deal with these Italian units while they're still maybe overextended, hopefully here, and going to try to blunt the Africa Corps' advance, and here, kind of get them all there. Blunt the Africa Corps' advance, try to maybe meet them near Burbug or City Barani, depending on how exactly it shakes out. The British are going to get the initiative next turn because they had the last two. They're the last two bunched up activations, so they're going to get that, and that should at least help them do a bit. They're not going to have very good. Yeah, they're going to have very poor activations next round. Really, they can't do much apart from sitting on the defensive, but can at least use what little movement we have to try to get across on the board. They're not really going to be able to start a counterattack really until turn 8, when they get some more. Turn 8 is really where they're going to get some more activation markers in, including the 13th and 30th Corps, and eventually the AUK on turn 9, which is so turn 8 and 9 is when Operation Crusader approximately happened, which was an attempt to kind of push up here. So I mean, while it's definitely somewhat ahistorical, it's not like it's not totally crazy, despite my poor generalship. It's actually fairly on track-ish, some variations. We'll see exactly how it's going to go down, but for now, we have an interesting situation here, and I'm going to press on turn 6 for the next video, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you next time.